Likelihood there's going to be the Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely.
Is the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not. Because you have the Afghan troops have 300,000 well-equipped as any army in the world.
We're just going to bring you these live and exclusive pictures here from inside the presidential palace. What you are looking at right now is Taliban fighters inside the presidential palace.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, and the clips that you just saw were of President Biden just over a month ago being asked as to whether or not the Taliban would ever be able to gain control in Afghanistan, to which he said, "Not going to happen, nothing to see here, just simply don't worry about that." You fast forward just a little over a month, and we're now seeing these horrific images coming out of Kabul, Afghanistan, where thousands of people are running to the airports in an attempt to flee, many of them clinging to the sides of the airplanes, filling up the cargo inside with hundreds of people, some of them later falling to their deaths. And as you can tell by the title of this video, today we're going to be taking a look at what some people seem to be missing in terms of the Taliban's CIA roots and who is really in control right now in Afghanistan. So let's jump right into it, my friends. Today we're going to start with this. Taliban leader was freed from Guantanamo Bay in 2014, swapped by Obama. When President Barack Obama released 5 Taliban commanders from Guantanamo Bay prison in exchange for an American deserter in 2014, he assured a wary public that the dangerous enemy combatants would be transferred to Qatar and kept from causing any trouble in Afghanistan. Well, in fact, they were left free to engineer Sunday's sacking of Kabul, and now that was in 2014. Let's fast forward just 4 years to this here in 2018. We see, meet the next leader of Afghanistan. Abdul Ghani Baradar is a veteran resistance fighter who saw off the Russians, remember that, and was freed from Pakistani jail by Donald Trump as part of a deal with the Taliban. That was in 2018. Now you fast forward a couple more years to 2020, and here he can be seen with the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who urged the Taliban to seize this opportunity to forge a political settlement and reach a comprehensive and permanent ceasefire. Now Baradar is poised to become president. Here they are seen both together in November of 2020. Baradar, the leader of the Taliban, here with Secretary of State Pompeo. And now it's obvious to me that it really doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. Either way, you're doing the bidding of the deep state when it comes to what happens with the Taliban, ISIS, or Al-Qaeda. So it doesn't matter if it's Barack Obama, it doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump. The deep state is the one who pulls the strings behind what happens in Afghanistan. So we have to remember that, guys, moving forward. And also, let's not forget the fact that the CIA created these institutions, the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and the CIA, to be their boogeyman that they could pull up at any given moment in order to launch a humanitarian mission against said boogeyman. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is being openly discussed. In fact, a lot of people already know about this. Operation Cyclone, one of the biggest covert operations the CIA has ever pulled off, amounting to billions of dollars. Check this out. Operation Cyclone was the code name for the United States Central Intelligence, the CIA, their program to arm and finance the Afghan Mujahideen in Afghanistan from 1979 to 89, prior to and during the military intervention by the USSR in support of the Democratic Republic of Afghanistan. The Mujahideen were also supported by Britain's MI6, who conducted separate covert actions. The program leaned heavily towards supporting militant Islamic groups, including groups with jihadist ties. I'll repeat, including groups with jihadist ties that were favored by the regime of Mohammed Zia al-Haq in neighboring Pakistan, rather than other less ideological Afghan resistance groups that had also been fighting the Soviet-oriented Democratic Republic of Afghanistan regime since before the Soviet intervention. So, yes, the CIA was funding hundreds of millions. In fact, I didn't even get into that. Let's continue on with the article here, where it says Operation Cyclone was one of the longest and most expensive covert operations ever undertaken. Funding officially began with $695,000 in 1979. That was increased dramatically to 20 to 30 million a year in 1980 and rose to 360 million per year in 1987. It's described as the biggest bequest to any third world insurgency. Funding continued, albeit reduced after 1989, and Soviet withdrawal as the Mujahideen continued to battle the forces of President Mohammad Najibullah's army during the Afghan Civil War. So this has cost billions of dollars to fund, to arm, and train literally jihadist extremists to help fight off the Russians at the time, but they continued to craft these groups and to shape them and to mold them and to be able to use them at any time they want to. 9/11 is the perfect example of a false flag attack that was carried out by the CIA, to which they blamed Al-Qaeda, and they went into Afghanistan 20 years ago over this. Meanwhile, Al-Qaeda wasn't even over there. Bin Laden wasn't even over there. Meanwhile, they decided to invade Afghanistan, and they stayed there for a couple of decades. In fact, when Bin Laden was pronounced dead in 2011, the American troops stayed there for 10 more years. I thought they're supposed to be not about nation building, supposed to be a humanitarian-ish mission. Well, if you actually look into it, you find out that opium production rose in Afghanistan during those years by an exorbitant amount, guys. And I've actually interviewed I had dinner once with a staff sergeant who was a general. He was a guy who did multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he told me he was involved in some of these raids on the opium farms, where they would be ordered to protect certain fields, and then other fields, his commander, his boss, whoever he answers to, would go in, would talk to the farmer, they'd work out some sort of deal, and they would be ordered to protect those particular opium fields. So this soldier told me flat out when we went out to dinner once that he was ordered to burn down some fields and to protect others. It's all about who was playing the line, who was going along with the racket that was going on there. And that's what it's been for the last 10 years over there. Now Trudeau says he's gonna just, continue to wait, see what happens, let's play this out. He says the Taliban needs to step up and make sure that they do this correctly. Well, what I think we're gonna see, ladies and gentlemen, over the years, is the launching of various humanitarian efforts in order to stop this resurrected boogeyman that they have once brought again to the fore table. Guys, this is something I've been talking about for quite some time. I've exposed the CIA's connections to Al-Qaeda. I've exposed the CIA's connections to ISIS here in this video, which is very important to understand. We are ISIS. Here's the proof. On Monday, May 18th, the government watchdog group Judicial Watch published a selection of formally classified documents obtained from the U.S. Department of Defense and State Department. Acquired through a lawsuit, the documents reveal that the Obama administration knew that Al-Qaeda terrorists were planning the Benghazi attack 10 days before it happened. In this video, Dan Dixon, Press for Truth, once again emphatically proves that ISIS is a creation of the West. And indeed, I did prove in that video that the Obama administration knew about the Benghazi attacks from Al-Qaeda 10 days before it happened. Why? Because the criminal elements within the Central Intelligence Agencies are the ones who funded and trained these guys, and who now have full control, as I said, to resurrect this boogeyman anytime they need it. So now it's being put into the minds of the masses that the Taliban is in control and the fate of Afghanistan is in the air. No, the fate of Afghanistan has been in the hands of the CIA for many, many decades now. They ramped up their war 20 years ago, but now they've really unleashed a monster, again, on purpose. You look at going back to the Obama administration releasing these guys from Guantanamo Bay, the Trump administration releasing these leaders from a Pakistani prison. And you look at the ties between the CIA with Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, and ISIS over the past 20 years, it's clear to see who's in control in Afghanistan. The deep state, secret intelligence operations within the CIA who are really pulling the strings. So I'm going to, like Trudeau, continue to pay attention to this one, but with a focused mind on who the real enemy is, guys. And never forget, anytime we're being told by the government to fear a certain boogeyman, well, in my experience, the number one suspect is often themselves. And that's who I'm calling out today, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's the criminal elements within the Central Intelligence Agencies who are still pulling the strings with the Taliban in Afghanistan. They are allowing this current takeover to take place in order to be able to provide the pretext for future humanitarian missions, all based on the ruse that they need to stop the big bad boogeyman that they created with billions of dollars in the first place. Guys, we cannot fall for it. We cannot allow them to launch into more wars in the Middle East. Non-intervention foreign policy is what our leaders need to embrace here, not these so-called humanitarian missions that are going to save us from the very boogeyman that they funded and created. Guys, please share this video. It's so important that we get this information out there. And also, if you do appreciate my efforts to bring you this information, please check us out here at pressfortruth.ca/donate. Here you can make a one-time contribution with PayPal. You can contribute some Bitcoin. You can join us on Patreon if you want to become a patron. You can also sign up for a monthly recurring amount. You can send an e-transfer to dan@pressfortruth.ca, or you can send anything you'd like to our P.O. Box. Links are located in the description below, guys. Thank you so much to anybody who has contributed my efforts to bring you this information. It's incredibly important that we continue to get this out there, guys, because it's countering the mainstream narrative that wants to control you. So if you appreciate that, please, once again, click the thumbs up button, share this video, and stay tuned for more video reports coming very soon. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.